This is Celeste, aka Joanna. Hi, how's everybody doing? We're going to do a bit of intuitive practice today. We're going to start off right off the bat. We're not going to talk about any messages or anything that I've channeled. We're going to practice. I got this beautiful deck yesterday. It's called the Galactic. It's called the Galactic Star. Kind of matches all the colors that I'm wearing. It's a beautiful blue, lapis blue, which is the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is pivotal for allowing your spirited and your soulful experience to come forward and be expressed in a divine and beautiful way. And of course, as we're maturing and as we're expanding into knowing what works and what doesn't work, right? What kind of conversation works and what doesn't work? If we're communicating from our wounds, then that's not going to work as well as it will be when we're communicating from a balanced place. So those are things we all learn through the process of ascension and owning who you are, and allowing yourself time to heal and time to kind of reflect on how you want yourself to be heard and known, and setting boundaries with those that need to have boundaries set, and moving away from those that you need to absolutely move away from, because they have not given to you in any way but just take and destroy your life. And even those that it's very disappointing, in which they will probably never make right, and they will probably never apologize, and they'll probably never return to you what they've done and stolen. And so just leave those experiences up to Source Creator to just balance the scales on those ones. The scales will always be balanced in some way. It just might not be how you thought or what you imagined, you know. But don't worry, you're here to be the best version of you. And so let's do some cards. We're just going to do a quick clearing and a cleansing of our fields, and we're going to ground, because we always want to make sure that we're grounded and we're centered from the divine heart space. We're centered right here in the very center of our beingness, because this is the pivotal battery source of all of our bodies up and down. Hello, beautiful. Hello, beautiful. Hello, beautiful. We're going to practice with this brand new deck that I got, and I'm very excited about it. It's just like the regular tarot deck, but they've added, you know, it's all about, it's all celestial themed. And so I do most of my oracles, and I do most of my tarot with just channeling the information that I get. Sometimes I get visions, and sometimes I just feel intuitively. So we're gonna use this deck. It's really lovely, and it's really it's fun and high vibrational. So I really like it so far. I was playing with it a little bit last night. And so we're just going to do a clearing of our fields, right? We're going to center in the middle of our vessel. We're going to center in the middle of our heart space. We're going to do some intentions for allowing these sessions and any information that we're calling in from our higher vibrational selves, from the higher 5D alignment. We're practicing 5D alignment. We're practicing who we are with intention. And so the intention and the direction of a focus is who we are becoming in a 5D experience, and what do we want to see in our next cycle for ourselves. And so I'm focusing on really softening into my divine feminine goddess. I'm really softening into not living in that fight or flight energy, because it's so harming on the body and the cells and the reproduction of the youthfulness that I want to encapsulate. And so I'm having to make some changes and really focus a lot more on self-love and self-healing, and, you know, taking beautiful walks in the garden and talking with the elementals and the fairies. And any work that you do with Gaia is going to be healing and nurturing and youthing. We call it youthfulness, youthing in your body, because your cells automatically regenerate, and they are activated in a natural state with Gaia. And so it's just very calming, and it's very, you get more youthful just being with Gaia as much as you can. And then if you can actually channel and do your intuitive work on Gaia, it's even doubling that energy that you'll get from her, because she's always giving to you. So we all know that we have celestial and galactic DNA. We all know that we are also human, but we want to allow ourselves to think about, what are these intentions coming for 5D that will allow us to be a divine human? And what does that mean to you? And a sacred human, a human that walks with reverence, a human that walks with setting boundaries with absolutely any energy that needs to be set boundaries with. And knowing that you're the one that calls the shots for your life, you're the one that designs your destiny, you're the one that comes forward with what works for you. And asking for those that, you know, you have those feelings of magnetic attraction to, that you've been shown by Source that have that magnetic attraction. And there's those of us that are feeling the sensation of a multiverse collaboration. With those we're meant to work with, and just kind of continue where we left off in other dimensions and other planets and other realms. So we're really happy to be connecting with all of you. And if you would like a session just to kind of go over what ascension is for where you're at, what is next for you. And just remember when I tap into the Akash, I do it for the process of your soul's blueprint, and then I close off the Akashic fields, which is what a healer and a teacher should do. It's not that prevalent at this stage of our Akashic, of our ascension game, that too many people would have access and be Akashic masters. There's very few and far between in the collective. There are people that can tap into it, and there are people that think they're tapping into it, and then there are people that abuse it. And so there's very profound reasons why each and every one of us is trained on behalf of the Akashic records. And we are trained by the highest masters of the heavens and, of course, our guides. We are always tested. If we're using our gifts and skills, we've just had new gifts and skills turned on, and many of mine are tapping into the celestial energies that are in the field. I can already feel them. So I'm going to do some channeling with those. So, wow, these cards are really tapping in already. And so we've got new gifts and skills, but that means we're going to go back, and I'm going to remind you at every video I have, we are aligning with the Sacred Trinity and our universal laws, and then also what is your protocol for your energetic vibration, your multidimensional vibration. Everybody should have their own unique protocol based on what you and your teams have aligned, your higher self have aligned, and it should be overall in aligning with the universal laws, right use of free will and non-interference. So that whatever it is you do in your work, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, you're aligning with those experiences, that you're not impeding anybody else's health or wellness. You're not going to impede or embark on any enforcement of any way, or any domination or any way, or any breaking anybody's soul. Why anybody would want to do that, I'm not sure. But just aligning with those laws allow you to have that beautiful protocol that is in alignment with divine source creating. You're not earning any negative karma, and you're also respecting everybody. Because as I said again, in 5D, once we cross that 5D gate, everyone will have to know, and everyone will have to be familiar with right use of free will and non-interference, because all that we do affects everybody else. So if you have one or two people, that's why they wouldn't get through the ascension gates, because those people that are still doing harm and still working from cults and covens that abuse people every day and lie and manipulate and defame and do debaucherous things with their bodies and then blame it on other people, all of those things that have been done, they would have never made it to the 5D gates, because those are low vibrational 3D woundings. And but you know that beings that act like that affect the entire collective. Because they're projecting their woundings, and they're projecting intentional malice and their intentional crimes, very serious crimes that were presented on my basis of my discrimination case, and they're very serious crimes, and they will be looked at, and we'll be making new laws. But it's why it's so important. If you have a good protocol for how you walk about life, how you walk, how you play matters. If you have a good protocol that says, I'm not going to, I've had to recently put on a little bit of a boundary, because there's been so many people come up to me and want my services for free. I've had to say, I'm really in the middle of writing. I close it off quite politely. And I say, but if you want to book a session, and if you want to come for a session, then just, send a donation in. And there's been a few people that have just given me, donations just right off the bat. So that's been nice. Because usually I've had to ask for it and kind of be in that energy of, well, I haven't received so far. So I've kind of been, the little woe is me pity party. But that just lets more energy in like that. So I'm learning to respect my honor and respect my space, and, really stand up in the power of who I am, and know that I'm so much worthy of so much more. And so I'm really excited to have those energies back. But that's also too, they're just saying that not to take it so hard on myself, because there were so many people that were playing in my field that were playing so much manipulation and misjudgment about who I am, the glamour spells. The people that do glamour spells and do black magic and negative voodoo and all that, their intention is to project energies into your field of the person that you're absolutely not. It's the opposite of who you are. And so low self-esteem, and that you're not worthy, and all these kind of things. So because I'm an empath and I'm a psychic, I feel and sense those energies, but they're not mine. I didn't create them and put them in my field. Many of them are doing this around the clock in the global networks of satanic crime groups that are being used by the shadow governments. And so Source Creator will be moving each one out, and each one of them are getting their karma. And each one of them are having their paths blocked, of anything they want to try and anything they want to do, their paths are being blocked, and they're getting absolutely nowhere in anything that they're trying, and because they have to know and they have to feel what they've done to me. And if they weren't going to come and make it right, then they're going to have the most harmful of karma, because it's not, we have to understand we are one, and if you cannot come with the basic human experiences of making it right and saying sorry, or on the other side of it, the flip side of it, the flip side of the infinity, right? There's always that flip side. The flip side of the infinity is, hey, I'd really like to work with you. I feel like I've got some great energy with you. I'm not really understanding it, but how about we just see where it goes, And anything like that is going to be lots of fun, because then you're just being as vulnerable as possible, and it's not wrapped up in a whole bunch of promises that you're not sure of yet, and you don't have to go in with anything like that, right? Somebody will recognize your heart, and somebody will recognize your soul, and just being vulnerable and honoring. You just make sure that your precautions are met, and of course, set your boundaries. For all of us that have been in this for a very long time, you do have to set boundaries on what you're willing to give and to whom. And then make it very clear about those that are absolutely not allowed back in your field. They're not allowed back in your energy. And Source Creator and your teams will be moving these people out more and more, because they don't deserve the blessings that Father and Mother have for you, based on all of the work that you've done. If they haven't been able to come back with even an apology on all the harm they've done to you, let alone the money they owe you, and let alone the defamation and the false claims, all of those things that have been done. What a fun ride, hey? Okay, so let's take a deep breath, and we're going to do some clearing and cleansing. We're just going to ground our energies to Gaia. We're going to open up our Earth Star chakra. Got goosebumps already. The teams are all ready to talk. So we're going to practice our clairs. After we do our clearing, we're going to go over our clair list. Okay, just so that we're remembering our clairs every day. Remember our multidimensional bodies, which we talked about yesterday. So go back to our videos. Again, I always suggest, going through a video and just opening to receive whatever it is you're going to receive. And then a couple of days later, go back and listen to a video 2 days earlier. That's how you get the activations. And that's how you're really going to cement the things that are meant to be in your field, that you're really going to pay attention. Call in a vision, call in a visualization of all of the light and all of love, the angels just bathing love on you and just sending love to you, your teams and your guides sending love. Right? Your teams and your guides just bathing you with love and bathing you with light and bathing you with love and bathing you with light. Ishia namakata ke, sia namakata ke, namakata ke, shia na 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 na, shia na na ka. Ati namakata ke, shia namaka a, sia makata ke, shia ma, ela na nakata de kama a, shia na na ka na ka. And ask all of your healing guides just to help move the energy. Ishia namakata ka, makata ka. Visualize white light coming up and down your pillar of light. Deep body, deep full body breath, deep full body breath, deep full body breath, deep full body breath. Lift your vessel all the way up, carry as much light and breath as you can. And as you're releasing, intend to ground your full multidimensional bodies into the earth. Ground, that is my intention, that is my intention. I'm grounding all that I am into the earth. I'm grounding all that I am into the earth. My Earth Star chakra is open. My chakras are open, my chakras are spinning, my chakras are being bathed. And have affirmations and speak out loud with your voice so that your cells are hearing you, your fields are hearing you. You are the commandmentship of your multidimensional bodies and fields. So you're commanding this clearing, you're commanding this healing. Thank you, Holy Spirits of light and love, and my healing teams from the Celestials, my healing teams, and call on whoever you wish to help you. Any aspects of the Holy Christ consciousness, any aspects of the masters that would like to join us in this healing, any masters of healing from the Arcturians. Thank you, Arcturians. We do have some Cassiopeians here today, so some of you are embedded with them. So the energy is starting to pick up now. So as you feel the energy start to intensify, because you're opening your chakras, you're allowing Christed light, you're allowing your celestial lights in, just take a full body breath and release slower. So as you feel the energies intensify, you need to exhale slower. And you need to ground deeper. As you feel the energies intensify, ground and slow your exhale. Ground, 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 ground. Gaia is our grounding agent. As you accelerate in energy, as you increase in energy, as you speed up in energy, Gaia is your grounding agent. Gaia is your grounding agent. She knows what you need. Your teams know what you need. Just open and receive. Open and receive, open and receive. Open and receive. Ishamaya te kesiana. Ete kesiamaya hea hea. Isiana, iana, ikitiana. I receive, I receive, I receive. I receive, I receive, I receive. Palms up, palms up. Have your palms up and open. It is my intention to connect with my highest spirit guides and the benevolence of who I am as a multidimensional divine human. We want to feel our intentions through our clairs. Our intentions today are to muse and to ponder for the next few days of what it means and what it feels like and what it's experienced and expressed like to be a divine human. What does that mean? And what does reverence mean? How do I express reverence for myself, of course, because you're the first aspect of godliness in your expression. And what does it feel like to be a divine expression of the Holy Creator through the Mother and the Father energies? Remember, you're always here to express and explore and experience yourself as divine feminine and masculine, to be a fully balanced, androgynous, five-dimensional being of a Creator God. You want your energies balanced so that when you manifest magnificence, dear lighted ones. You've got that joy and soft intuitiveness of understanding what is right and what is wrong for you in any moment. And the will of the Creator and the Divine Masculine knows exactly what it's doing. And you ground these energies into the new Earth grids and the Earth Star Chakra that opens you into and with all your ancestors through all timelines, ancient and futures, dear lighted ones. And so see the Earth Star Chakra beneath your feet, and codes being offered, and elements of the richness of the soils being offered, and the beautiful things that your Earth Star Chakra offers you. Access to your Akash, and access to your timelines here, and access to the grids, and access to love, and access to where you're going next, and access to all these beautiful places that want to see you and know you and help you. I open to today's daily codes from the Divine Creator, the Holy One, Ra. I'm asking for the codes from the Divine Holy One, the Great Sun, the Great One, Ra. And through the sun and the moon, we are balanced beings. And in the knowing and not knowing of anything in my field, in my multidimensional experience, bodies, tissues, bones, if there's anything that needs to be released, I ask that it be released now through my higher self and through the bathing of extra divine crystalline light, for I'm a divine human and I get to choose what stays in my body and my fields and in my thoughts, mental, physically, emotional, spiritual, causal fields. I want them to be bathed and to be released now, please. I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to release any negative thought patterns. I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to let go any insecurities about me connecting with my divine human tribe, my divine celestial tribe, the ones that are here to promote and create and lift with me as I lift with them. I'm looking forward to these engagements. I'm looking forward to these embracings of new energies and new experiences, for I know that if God has designed it, then they are excited to know me as I am excited to know them. So I'm going to release any insecurities about this new beginning. So part of being a divine human, dear lighted ones, we also wanted to add in the intention that we want to solidify and we want to anchor, and why we're going to use our intuitiveness, because we want to begin this new beginning today. We know that we're on a new creational story. We know that we've had lots of work and lots of musings and lots of reflections and understandings about the Adam and Eve antine particles that move up the pillar of light, which is when you get those Kundalini sparks and the activations from the DNA and all that is to be activated within your multidimensional systems, which then goes again, the enhancements and the advancements within the brain and the brain tissues and all that is the brain that needs enhancements to be able to be a fifth dimensional thinker and intellectual innovator. So all things have to be moved by the spark of God that moves up and around various aspects of your multidimensional body and also affects the systems within your body that we talked about yesterday. So just see all of the systems, all of your bones, all of your tissue, excretory systems, respiratory systems, skeletal systems, muscular systems, all that you are. And see it being bathed with the divine crystalline light of the Holy Christ. The highest nourishment that your body and your tissues can have, and you're calling in the light, and your body will only take in as much light as it can take in. And every day it's up to you to allow yourself that constant harmonization, to seek light and accept light. I'm accepting light today, Holy Mother, Father. I'm asking in all that I do and all that I sit and all that I accept within Holy Mother Father and all of my teams and all of my guides. I accept light within my light today. And in these musings and in these co-creations and in these communications, as I'm using and I'm practicing my multidimensional gifts and my skills of being a psychic and a seer and a purveyor of light, may my clairaudience come forward. May my clairsentience come forward. May my clairtangents come forward. May my clairgustance come forward. My mouth always gets cut. Clairaudience and clairvoyance. And may all of our clairs come forward in the highest and the best. And set the intention right now, dear lighted ones, as you feel your feet being grounded on the floor and you're calling your ancestors to support your fields and protect your fields, that as you are opening up to the multidimensional array of energies, and because you know yourself to be a divine light person, the only thing that you will have contact with, and Archangel is protecting those that have asked for the protection, that are honoring the protection because they work with light every day and they care about their ascension path, and they're the most benevolent of beings and why they show up every day, that you will only take in those energies that will be of the highest benevolence and the highest healing and the highest activation for your divine soul's Akash. All other energies will be kept at bay and they will be moved away. Now, now, now. This room is completely sealed and protected. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Te-shena-ma-a-a. E-te-ke-na-a-a. And these are knowings, dear lighted ones, as my name is. I am the light, and they will not approach this light because I am sacred and I am divine. And I have reverence for all life. But in this communication, I wish to only connect with those of the highest and the best, brought through the gatekeeper of the higher self. And this is working within your protocols. You have cleared and cleansed your bodies. You have opened up your chakras for any energies and lights that might come in, and flowing of energies and densities that might leave out. You've connected with the earth. You've grounded with the earth. Your pillar of light is open, still being bathed by light from your teams and your celestials that are always with you. They'll never leave you. You've opened up to the highest light of communicators and the highest benevolence of those that serve your benevolence, as your gatekeepers and your guides are still watching and praying for you and offering you protection and light, because you are the ones seeking light. And if you do seek light, and if you do wish to follow through on the Divine Mother and Father's plan of eternal life, then you will be offered that equal protection. But you have to get in the elevator and do the equal work as well. So these are parts of your protocol. Know that. If I'm practicing my light, dear lighted ones, then I will be protected in equal form. That's why people haven't been able to sacrifice me, because I work with light and I bring light to those aspects of life that have not had light yet. So I serve a great purpose. My garden is constantly bathed in light and love and song. And you get to choose the protocol of which you choose. How do I wish to bathe my own home today? How do I wish to bathe my own body today? I will speak only in positive, loving acts of love to my body, to my inaugmentary systems and my brain, and the tissues and the synapses are just adding in light and crystalline light. And I want to be faster in my thought of higher intellect, connecting with nature, connecting with celestials, connecting with the unseen. I want to advance my gifts. I know there's been gifts coming in. I can feel the synchronicities and the beautiful miracles that Mother, Father, and my teams are always working with me, so that I notice things when I'm not distracted and busy all the time. And I would choose to make myself unbusy, because there is nothing more important than your spiritual journey and those that will help nourish your soul and your heart. And know too, they had a comment from me yesterday that we wanted to move forward, is those of you that think you have to choose between love and career, and those of you that have been having such challenging times of going back and forth with love or career or love or a job, and those experiences in such a way. When it comes to the divine soulmates, just know that those divine soulmates that you're partnered up with and by through God, that you will be working and collaborating together. So your career and your vocations and your work, if you will be a collaboration of unity, because it is the juxtaposition of both of your energies to work through these and to be role models for your collective. So that will automatically be a natural. And you're meant to come together. But you're also meant to come together and put love as a priority, because nothing will be broken. Unbroken and unbreakable foundations can only be if you have that love of honoring and being vulnerable with each other, to know that you're each there for each other. You each gift each other what each other cannot, right? And in that, how may you come together and just co-create whatever is in the highest and the best? And then each of you can put some ideas on the table and put out your highest dreams and your highest inspirations of what you've been getting in your dreams and your inspirations and your ideas and floating about in your own private time. Bring it to the table and then give each other 24 hours to think about it. But know that it is my intention to move forward. And if you're so willing and if you're so inclined, that the intention of attraction is there, and I'd like to get to know you better on that level as well. And so these things can be discussed, and it's just a matter of your responsibility and your maturity level. And just knowing that you don't ever have to choose when you're in this level of 5D frequency and consciousness. You should never have to choose between one or the other. And if you do, then you know that you're not in alignment of the 5D. Because your 5D co-creations and relationships will always be to collaborate together for the greater good. Because why? We're going to give you a few reasons, because it's going to also tap into and tune into how you're going to connect with the intuitive nudges, the intuitive symbols, and the reading of energy. In these co-creations that are coming up, dear lighted ones, it's going to be a tenfold. And this tenfold is that it will always serve the highest and the greatest good, but it will always also too serve the activations within each of you that you're meant to activate and spark within each other, because you have those magnetic components that are directly aligned and always designed by Mother, Father, God. For only Father God knows and Mother, Father know the exact timelines and histories each of you have had, how each of you need to be activated at the very minute detail of magnetism and quark likeness. And although each of you might be different aspects of species or DNA activation levels or consciousness levels or awareness levels, that's fine. But you have what is within you that can activate each other's mirrored reflections to serve in the highest and the best. That's why Source knows what Source is doing. And those that are very low vibrational 3D consciousness, who still perhaps might be working in a bit of wounding, doesn't necessarily know all that Source knows. And this is why sometimes it's hard to get your head around the ego on why Source would choose certain people for you. Because it might be completely off of what you're used to or, normally attracted to, or moving your energies in and out of. But then you've also done some reflection work to know that those people that you have mostly been attracted to have been the ones that have been harmed most. Because they've never been up to your standard of having that level of equal alignment, nor the depth of emotional morality or emotional integrity to never do the things that you would never do to another. So there's reasons why things have not worked out. There's reasons why you're at the level of maturity that you are with your ascension and awakening. Everyone has a unique temperament and pacing of energy and how they work with it and process it. You might have a partner that processes energy very fast, for they are advanced in that respect, and they can assist you in processing energy. Especially if you're both very big carriers of creatorhood. Then you both carry a very big energy. So the first little while might be a lot of just getting used to each other's energy. So allow yourself to have a lot of downtime with each other and get used to each other's energy field, for that's going to take a lot out of each of you. But no, on the flip side of that, think of the profundity that each of you could manifest and co-create together. And each of you will have to teach each other your limits of how much energy you can take and your temperaments of how you can take. So just communicate these things as you go in your co-creations and your collaborations. How much is too much? You might have one being that's very intense, can take a lot of information, a lot of energy in, and the other one might be just catching up, if you will. So just be compassionate and be patient with one another. Talk these things through, but you should never ever have to choose between love and vocation. At this point of the game, dear lighted ones, they're always integrated. So just know that. You're meant to co-create as masters and gods here, which means that if you are in alignment of your highest and your best, you will just manifest what you need to manifest when you need to manifest it. Because you are working from the element of your heart space of pure abundance. You are source abundance. Therefore, then all that is manifested through the heart will bring you a form of abundance, whether it is emotional abundance, financial abundance, or the monetary abundance that you might know that is an exchange of your gifts and skills. And the more in adept you are with your gifts or skills and practicing with your gifts and skills and getting in the elevator as often as possible with your gifts and skills and having that relationship and alignment with your team, that co-creation and connection with your team, all of those things are so very pivotal for you to move in the direction of your highest and your best. It's always with connection and aligning with your highest and your best. I want to be the highest version of who I am today and really tune in with Spirit and how Spirit speaks to me. Spirit speaks to each and every one of you uniquely. There are those of you that they're showing me that are in the collective now or future now moments that are very connected with listening and taking downloads from nature. And we're talking about the biosphere of nature. And that means the insects that are in the air and the sounds that they make. And why do they make the sounds that they make along with the birds and the sounds that the birds make? It's a harmony, it's a symphony. And these experiences of the biosphere add to the co-creation of the omnipresent field that Source Creator God is always importing and exporting and transmuting, alchemizing energies within these things, as well as those of you that are alchemizers. Just moving about in your own light. It's so very important that you just feel joy, and that is enough to alchemize any density coming towards you. So just know that joy and happiness are a natural alchemizer. So state your intentions every day, how you're directing your energy every day, and how you're focused upon energy in every day. And those are simple ways to just keep a very beautiful, soft, and gentle alignment at the very center of your heart, and just open with vulnerable communication. And your hands open, and we're going to focus on our heart space. The Divine Sacred Heart is in the very center of your body. It's a diamond shape. And we're calling forward Divine Mother and Father and all of our celestial teams and guides. And as this collective opening in our councils of light and our federations of light that are assisting us become divine sacred humans, preparing ourselves for 5D co-creation, practicing our many gifts of our skills and our talents that are celestial and alien and divine human and ancient human and shamanistic human. And we're aligned, fully open, and we embrace this. We embrace new beginnings. We command new beginnings. We allow ourselves to begin new beginnings. And we embrace all that is the divine, sacred, reverent aspects of who we are as the Divine Mother and Divine Father. And I allow these synchronicities and downloads to occur in my own pacing and my own temperament, and I will not judge myself or judge others for what I receive. And I'll just allow the information to speak for itself. For sometimes when you're getting downloads and sometimes when you're speaking with Spirit, it might not make sense till a few days later. And this is why we always say to make journals, so that you can always go back to your notes and you can say, oh yeah, I know why they said that. Because two days in the future, you might be running against something that inspiration or that synchronicity or that download or symbol is really activating. So again, because in a 5D, it's all now. There is no past or present or future. It's just all now. And so we want to get used to working in this now moment. So don't always judge or question and talk yourself out of it egoly, because we want to surrender the ego right now, which is what we'll do next. We're surrendering our ego in this moment of now to anything that we've learned from the past timelines or past realms or past lifetimes. We're going to surrender it to Source, and we're going to surrender it to our higher self, because we want to step up into this new beginning of our fifth dimensional expectancy. We're going to expect ourselves in new ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually. We want to harmonize ourselves in new ways with the highest vibrational light, because we've never been in this omnipresent light ever. So we want to really open ourselves up to the omnipresent substrates and the energies that are going to be coming to us within these beautiful equinox energies. And who we are is clearing and cleansing our fields every day, and what it feels like to be cleared and cleansed. You're in charge of it. And remember, if the energies get too intense or too fast, then just ground and breathe really slow on the exhale. So now you've met your protocol. You're opening up to the highest and the best versions of those beings that are here to assist you. Your bodies are now cleansed and cleared, and you're now straight back. You're now going to open and align with the highest benevolent beings on your behalf. You're going to allow yourself to be open to whatever gifts and skills and talents that may come through today. No judgment, no expectation. And you're going to allow Spirit to give to you the energy or the information, the colors or the sounds that you need. Remember, this is why. Because you have certain gifts or skills that will be only activated in the ways that only your teams will activate you. That's why you have the specific teams and your guides in the way that you do. Because if you have a special clairaudient gift, and there's no other person in your soul tribe that might have this gift, like some of us do have these clairaudient gifts that no other person has. So we have to be very aware and attuned that I'm so grateful for these gifts. I'm embracing all of my gifts. And I release all fear. I'm so excited. I'm going to embrace these gifts. Because I might have gifts that nobody else has, and it's going to be hard for me to explain it to most people. You know, when I started to explain to people what a conduit was and how a conduit experienced a one download, I try to do it as best I can, but sometimes we just don't have human words to move through the experience of what a conduit really feels in a source download. And so I experienced something yesterday in the chat, and when I was doing my channeling, I had this beautiful feeling at my solar plexus, and it was like a bubbly, it was like butterflies in my solar plexus of white butterflies, and it vibrated all along my pillar of light, because I'm also clairvoyance. So I was seeing and I was hearing those experiences and I was feeling those experiences. So many of my clairs are already activated as a conduit with Source, and I'm so very lucky to feel Source, and why I get so teary sometimes, because it's not just one clair I'm working from. I'm working from 3 or 4 or 5 sometimes, especially when Source gives me those profound moments of harmonization with Source. And then I really get emotional. And so I had that activation yesterday and I felt Source, and I said, oh my gosh, Source, can you tell me what that was? And they said, you're just harmonizing more and more deeply with your higher self. So the higher self is speaking more as I am. And instead of it being of me opening to my higher self is just going to continually keep speaking. So that's really wonderful. And so that is the godly part of me, the godly aspect. So I'm speaking as the alchemized Messiah. And so I'm constantly harmonizing the alchemized Messiah, because there's been a lot of, trepidation. I'm saying, well, I don't know if I can't take all that. That's such a big thing, But then Mother, Father, I've said, you've earned it, you've earned it. So we want you to hear you, because they said, we want you to say that you're the Messiah. You have to say these things with honor and with reverence. You've earned it. And it took me a long time. It took me a couple of years, That's what they were preparing me for. And it does take, because you have to alchemize, you have to do all of these new things in new ways. And because you've never been taught to feel this beautiful about yourself, that you do have all these beautiful gifts. But you're going to be prepared by your teams. So now, if each and every one of you have your paper and your books and your journals, we're going to work with our beautiful little deck here. And this beautiful deck has been brought to us by Alexandra. That's who's doing the deck. It's beautiful, isn't it? And so if there's any question that you want to have pulled forward, and remember, have the question come from your spirit. Have the question come from your soul, and you have guides that are already listening. Your higher self already knows what you're going to ask. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3-card spread. Okay, and this 3-card spread is directly with the intention of the divine aspect of our human. Right? We want to have a 3-card spread, and the divine aspect of our human is going to deal with our sacred Trinity. What is the message from the heavens? What is the message from my collective? And what is the message from Gaia? And usually all of these will have ancestral images and ancestral messages. So again, be open to thought, word, and deed, sound, color, how you're going to feel, how your body feels. We're clairsentience, clairknowing, clairvoyance, clairaudience. Okay, so we're going to do a 3-card spread. And if there is a question that you'd like in any of those 3 categories, we'll do first the heavens, then the collective, and then Gaia. Okay, and I'm just going to place them down before me, and I've done lots of shuffling on these. And this will have direct relationship to our intention today is to move forward with a divine human. And how does that feel for us, and what does that look for us? So what are the messages coming from the heavens? What are the messages coming from our collective? And what are the messages coming from Gaia on how for me to align with my highest divine aspect of who I am, the highest benevolence of who I am, the highest protocol of who I am? What are the messages coming forward? Okay, I'm going to pull out 3 cards. Oh, wow. 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 Holy cow. That's powerful. At the bottom of the deck, oh my God. I knew this deck had some power to it. The bottom of the deck is the Chariot. And we see obviously the balancing of the yin and the yang. We see the balancing of the divine feminine, divine masculine. And we see the Merkaba. Remember, we talk about the higher self and the lower self. And when the higher self and lower self come in, it will look like the Star of David. That is the Merkaba. That is what you travel within. That is what all star beings travel within, is the Merkaba. That's why they don't need light ships. They just have access to manage and commandmentship. They have commandmentship over their Merkaba. That's why it does have to be balanced with your light and your dark. It does have to be balanced that you're knowing your shadow and you're honoring your shadow, and you have to call judgment when you need to call on that shadow. So if there's people in your field that are abusing you and disrespecting you, and it does have the black and the white birds as well, that you have access, and that's why you do have those shadow energies to come forward and speak on behalf of the lighter side of you, to say, no, this is my light and I have access to it and I'm going to use it. And then have those shadow and light moments so that you're continually harmonizing and standing up for yourself. That's why each and every one of us does have a darker side, and that darker side is meant to say, no, I'm going to stand up for when other parts of me are being abused or not mistreated, because that's what the Chariot knows, is that you can move anywhere within creation as long as you're allowing yourself to know that you've got your own back. You don't need anyone else because you are in godliness now. There's nothing more godliness than what is your Merkaba. That is God's gift to you. That is, once you move into the 5D, your Merkaba is activated. And that will be the temple that you move within. That will be the temple that you get recalibrated in. This is the temple of where you've been and where you will always go. That is your infinite, that is your eternal life with God. And that sits in the God seed cell, remember, micro, macro, the holographic experience. That's why it's good to be with those that, and of course, wow. And then the star underneath that. Isn't that gorgeous? There's so many powerful energies that are playing today. So I'm going to leave these two out. I don't want to go any further because I know it's going to be, I'm just like, wow. So the first one that we came up with, which is a beautiful, powerful card, and this is the moon. Again, we're talking about the yin yang, the light and the shadow, and the right. The moon will always have the two perspectives of self. It will have the lower vibrational self, the subconscious self that you're pulling up, and you're going to work with those triggers. And again, it's the same as the yin yang. It's the same as the divine feminine masculine. It's the same as the shadow and the light. So these are all the same symbols of juxtapositions of energies. But you have to move through those energies, right? You have to move to take a look at the shadow every day. What is it showing me? And these gateways are gateways of initiation. And so I read intuitively. I read from my channeled perspectives. And so first of all, what is showing me is that these gateways that you're moving yourself through, you're initiating yourself and your teams and your guides. Those are the only people you should be initiating yourself with. Everyone else you're going to release that and let that go, because there is nothing higher than the heavens. And this is the card of the heavens. So right now we're working with the heavenly card. So right now we want to bring ourselves within a divine interrelated relationship. We want to build a relationship and alignment with the divine heavens, and that we will be initiated through various aspects, and especially if we're coming up on an equinox. How beautiful. You're going to come up with a harmonization through this initiation, because you can't get through these gates of the initiation of your earthly initiation. You can set that as an intention. I'd like to have an initiation with the Mother and the Father in my heavens to harmonize both my light and my shadow. So I'm going to bring that into greater harmony, and I'm going to do it with my intention, because now I know that I'm a commandmentship of me. I'm using my Christ consciousness. I'm understanding ascension. I'm understanding my cycles. I'm understanding the dark nights of the soul and how my subconscious personality perspectives can assist me. Once I bring them to the surface, and I can say, yeah, I've learned from that soul experience, that psyche experience, and I can use these shadow energies to be a part of my now moment creation, through which, once you've done that reflection work, then your teams allow you to walk through the waters of emotions, through the waters of cleansing, through the waters of healing. And this is the waters of the Christ as well. These waters will activate anything within you that's divinely timed, that your teams are in charge of, that you will be activated as you walk through these gates of initiation. And they are meant to harmonize you in further aspects of becoming more divine. Because that divinehood is that, yes, all of your experiences will serve you, so don't judge them. That's part of being divine, is owning and accepting. That's a huge part about your divinity, is God never judges you for your experiences, so why do you? Acceptance is so profound in the forgiveness process. And there's always going to be these aspects of duality that you're going to have to move through, and then wash it through and allow whatever emotions are coming forward, so that you can move the energy and move the energy and move the energy. And of course, the moon is always, I love how this moon has little spikes on it, so that it feels like an always moving energy, right? And if you look on the back of the cards, there's the spirals of the galaxies. So that's beautiful. And of course, there's the little energies of the light and the dark there. And so I love how it has the spirals, because the moon always, and that's the energy that I'm getting for, as well as for the heavens. The heavens are responsible for the movement and the natural order. Every planet has its natural spin around the cycle of the sun. Every aspect of our moon energy pulls up those deeper energies for us to look at from the subconscious. And so there's absolute mechanisms here of the driving force, just as natural order is for us to evolve. However, we've been so distracted, we've been disconnected, and we have never been taught or told these very profound experiences that assist us in becoming divine and sacred. And of course, most, unless you go to an Eastern, really old philosophies of Eastern, none of the churches and states teach you about your connection with the earth in a metaphysical way and in an atomical way, a biophysical way, in that the essence of spirit, the essence of your initiations through yourself is through spirit. And if you're allowing it to be in old metaphysical terms, the moon is always the mother, and the mother is drawing the most energies, because she's always met with life within the womb, which is always filled with water. And there are various gateways and portals that the seed and the embryo has to move through. And of course, the gateway, the not only the fallopian tubes, but the cervix that everything moves through. So all of these are very indicative of birth. So as you move through these darker experiences on your own, doing your own commandmentship of being a divine being, you know that there's elements of manifestation and harmony you're going to have to bring into a balance and bring into a homeostasis. And by knowing it's all beautiful, it's all accepted, where are you now in this journey? And you know that there's always going to be a natural order to pull up anything that needs to be naturally pulled up in its own essence, however it can, however it will, because divine order is always. You don't have to force anything. There's always a divine mechanism of why a planet turns in the rotation that it does around its sun. We don't have to ever force, ever manifesting. So we want to return back to a divine nature of just being at homeostasis and balance and similitude, of just honoring natural order within who you are as source with all that is. You will always be connected with the moon and the sun. You will always be connected with all of the planets. You will always be connected with all that is life. You will always be connected with any galaxy, any version of soul tribe that you are connected here with, that you are assisting them with learning through you. So that's very important. So we're going to do this. This is divine, heavenly order. And while you're blue, so, okay, this beautiful, I can't believe this card came up for the heavens. So for the heavenly integration, what we're going to learn, this heavenly negotiation, and just these simple basic teachings that we're offering you metaphysically, energetically, and cosmically and quarkly, heavenly. This is also taking up in participation of your soul's blueprint. So in the rotation of all that has been the wounding, of all that has been the subconscious, of all these gateways that you have traveled through and you haven't quite got through, your ancestors are saying, we're going to come through a gateway. You're the one that can do it for us. You're the one that can transcend these beliefs because you have such higher teachings than we did back then. And all of these things that you're going to be harmonizing and allowing yourself to become a part because you're now commander. And so in this last statement that I just stated is because you have soul family even on earth or the ones not on earth, and you also have ones that you're connecting with in different realms that you're always going to be threaded with. But you're here as this human experience to feed them back information. And this is why some of us feel that as we've been walking about earth, that some of us feel that as we're walking and we're moving about our experience, that we have always people that are watching with us. And it's very true. Some of you do have implants or imprints that are on you vibrationally or metaphysically or in your spiritual field, and they're placed within you because you're doing a lot of teaching to those that are going to be next on the earth. And perhaps you've come with an implant that has to do with the ecology, and you're always in nature and you're always fascinated with nature. You're sending a lot of information back, and you can tell this by, you always know if you're feeding information back to your teams and your councils by if you're paying attention to things and you end up saying things 2 or 3 times, because it's like you're teaching as you're walking about life. And this is how you know that you're feeding information back to the teams that your counsel's on. And they might be doing research, they might be doing studies, they might be doing assisting with, if your systems get damaged, how do you go and correct it and heal it? So this is why sometimes it's very good to go into nature and say, okay, teams, I'm going to go into nature for a recalibration, and just pay attention to how you're feeling and how you're processing the information intuitively. Because you might just start to realize that, yes, you are feeding a lot of information back to those that are going to assist a lot of hybrids in healing their multidimensional bodies and systems. This is how you know there's always a connection. Those of us that can see more through the veils of illusion, that we're not connected, and of course we are, but those of us that can see through the veils are already telling you that, yes, many of you are already talking, and many of you do talk with your teams in a higher consciousness state. And sometimes when I was younger, my sisters would always say, why do you always say things twice? Why do you always repeat things? And because I knew that there was energies, and I always just call them above, just like this, because they're on a cloud, and they're just always talking with me. They're always with me. And it's a constant communication because they're watching me walk through life, because I'm the first person, the first being of my specific star cluster to come forward and move through life at this density. So it's a very profound thing. So there's lots of councils and there's lots of teams and beings that you're working with, depending on your soul's blueprint. What are the themes and lessons you're here to learn and move through? What are the themes and lessons you're here to harmonize with the divine feminine, divine masculine? What initiations are on your now cycle? So remember, every time that you pull this moon card, the moon card is so very powerful. The moon card will always provide a foundation of your most profound lessons and your most profound power. And we say power in spiritual power, because one cannot be a master without pulling the moon card once a cycle. What are the depths of my learning going to be? Where's that dark night of the soul taking me? Right? And this is where you become the dodecahedron, because nobody can talk about what you talk about in 100 different ways that you can talk about it, because you've actually done the work and you have actually spiraled through whatever needed to be spiraled through, and you've alchemized what needed to be alchemized. And you know that you are the only one that you're the only one that cares about your initiations. You're the only one that is going to command it. You're the only one that's going to be the compass of it. You're the only one, you and God, that says, yes, I did an amazing initiation. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And it's always a good idea that as we're coming upon an equinox to bring your ancestors along with you and maybe do an outdoor initiation, of water and land and soil, and just do a beautiful initiation of gratitude. Remember, initiations aren't things that you're going to take. Initiations aren't things that you're taking. And this is where you know somebody that is not working in alignment and somebody that is in alignment. That when they go outside to do things, they're always doing it to get things. That's how you know that they're not in alignment and they're working from very wounded spaces of greed, gluttony, selfishness, envy, jealousy, because those are all the ego wounds. When you're doing initiations, you are transforming. That's what the moon theology is all about. Why do we have the mother? Why do we have the moon? The mother teaches us to heal. It teaches us to trust our intuition. She teaches us to know that all aspects of life are present and valued. The mother would never say, I like my daughter, but I don't like my son, or I like my son, but I don't like my daughter. Those are very wounded perspectives of life in and of itself, because they're very disharmonious, obviously, right? And so take apart in your intuitiveness, the messages you're getting, what is standing out to you in the card, message from the heavens. What's standing out from you from the card? What is your eye drawn to first? What is your energy at the center of your body? What is it drawn to first? And you can write it down in the chat, or you can write it down in your book. This is how I want you to get used to working with your gifts and skills, because each of you are going to have a different answer. And I'll tell you one of mine, my gifts and my skills from the heavens, is that this beautiful little lamb is, for me, representing at this time, because again, this card can mean something different every time you look at it, and every one of these symbols can mean something different every time you look at it. That's how you know you're becoming a dodecahedron. So celebrate those moments. Don't ever stay stuck in the card. And this is why a lot of the readers online have to get classes themselves, because they stay stuck within one symbolism and one meaning of the card, and that's not necessarily it. You have to read the card every time it comes out for the situation, the energies that are in the energy field right now. And everything is going to mean something different. And sometimes that card is not going to have the same meaning it did the time before. So this is where you have to, again, discern how and who you're getting readings from, how and who it's being interpreted, and how and who, what is your interpretation. And so in this now cycle for me, this heavenly card means for me is that this is a symbol of the inner child and the sacred child, the innocent of the child, the innocence of the child. That has been a lot of my path and why I've been speaking up for my human rights and all of the... And this is why my throat is clearing, because my throat is the gateway of spirit. That the innocence of my sacred child and the innocence that was stolen and raped from me through a whole lifetime of debauchery, through a whole lifetime of spells and hexes, through a whole lifetime of suppression and lying to me. That my inner child right now and the inner voice of my child right now, is this is the healing that the mother offers us, is to walk through that door. That's right, Pluto. Is to walk through that door and reclaim that sacred child, to say, no, you're not going to hurt me anymore, and you're not going to harm me anymore. It doesn't matter how many spells, it doesn't matter how many suicides you send me, it doesn't matter how many hitmen you think you're going to send to me. I'm reclaiming the essence of my innocence, because I didn't deserve to be raped. I didn't deserve to have hurt, curses, and hexes put on me since the time I was born, because the people that were so-called looking after me were so very wounded that they just wanted me to feel the hate that they were. So they used me as their punching bag, their vibrational punching bag. Most of the abuse that I had experienced was all vibrational, emotional, mental, and psychological. And then there were, a handful of cases where it was the physical abuse. But for somebody that comes as a vibrational, we're not degrading any abuse at all in any way. So don't take what I'm saying incorrectly. Somebody that, let me finish my statement, when you are high functioning, you're sensitive and you're an empath, you feel every emotional abuse, you feel every emotional impact, you feel every spell, you feel every thought, word that's hate in anybody's head. And this is where you know that you're working with your clairaudience, because you can feel thought forms in the field and how horrible they are. And you can feel people do their sex orgies, even if they're in another province away, and you can see them and you can feel them, and it's disgusting. And you have to stand up for that. That's your innocence of your consciousness that these people had no invitation to. They were not permitted. So this is very important as well from the heavens. This is from a heavenly message right now. So this is where, again, when you start reading the energy of the card and the energies of the heavens for the collective and for yourself, you start getting all of these beautiful messages. And the other thing too is that in this space, this is your sacred space. No other being or energy or entity is allowed in this space. It's very important. This is how you know you're being taught by a master. No other entity or energy other than your healing teams and your guides and your higher self are ever allowed in this special space. There might be energies that are brought along through the symbols of the card, but there should be no other energy or entity in this space. And if there are, you need to close down the card and you need to call in Mother and Father and you need to banish all energies that are in your field and the demons or the entities or attachments that you have working with you. And then you can reopen the card because these are portals. These cards are portals, right? So these cards are portals just like the Ouija board. And if you don't know what you're doing and if you're not working with energy with a protocol of benevolence, then you're going to offer in whatever energy you can. This is why many of the people from the past in Calgary, they're all walking around with energies and entities and attachments that are demonic. And why they are mostly diseased and ill, because they chose with ill intention. That's what ill means, with ill intention. Their intentions were not benevolent. Their intentions were ill. And their intentions were disease. So therefore, that is their karma, and that's where it's returning, is to disease. If they intended for me to be in poverty, if they intended for me to be separate, if they intended for me to be glamorized out, those will go right back to each and every one of them that were paid and took money to do glamour spells on me or jar spells or voodoo or poking with, whatever was poked with. So again, this is why all of the karma is unfolding, and it must. This is the return of the moon. The return of the moon says, no, I've kept my spaces very sacredly. I've done my initiations with Mother, Father, God. Nobody's allowed in my space. I gave no permissions to anybody. I've written no signatures on anything. I know that I'm working with my energy in a very benevolent way. Therefore, I'm the only one to walk through this door. Nobody walks through this door with me, ever. They don't have permission. They never will. I never give permission for anybody to walk through my doors of initiation. They are my doors only. Period. And don't ever, ever have anyone that's doing these types of energy experiences with you and say you're going to walk through the door with somebody else. No, you don't. They're just for you and God. That's it. There are very sacred temples that you can go in, and you can have temple healings where Archangel Michael will bring the higher self of another person for a very specific higher healing. But you have to come have Archangel Michael bring the higher self of that being. You don't ever bring that being. Again, discern and how and who and why and where you're being taught. Because you don't, again, protocol. You always work with the highest intention of energy. Nobody belongs in your sacred space, period. It is between you and Source Creator, you and God. Nobody is in your sacred space, period. The only other being that is here is Archangel Michael and all of your healing teams, your celestial teams that are above you and your higher self. The mother. This is the mother's card for you. This is the mother's card. She birthed you. She breathed you. She gave water to you, the Holy Christ to you. This is your innocence. And these are the shadows that teach you how to return to your innocence and know that, yes, that shadow is there for your juxtaposition, for you to say, no, I can do this. If I know there's a shadow there, I can walk through this, and I'm going to initiate myself. I'm going to walk through my own waters. These are my own waters. It's my womb. That's power, my dear lighted ones. So again, discern how and who and why and where you're getting your information from. And know that your information is copyright to you. I give these as benevolent teachings, but when you go and teach something and say the exact same thing and out of your mouth in the exact same words, then it's not really your learning. It's not really your dodecahedron. This is my dodecahedron. I've learned it. I'm in tune with spirit when I speak with my oracle cards. It's a portal. It's a tool that I use. It's a permission slip. It's just a tool that I use. I read tarot cards differently than everybody else reads them. And I stopped using them for a while because I wanted to do more channeling with spirit, and I wanted to trust the intuitions of all my clairs. This is just a permission slip. But know that in your tarot cards, they are portals. So it's good to not let anybody use your cards, and clean and cleanse them regularly and tap the energy out of them. This is, again, your protocol. How are you working with energy? You're working with it with reverence because it's divine. So treat it divinely. This is my divine portal for all that is my transformation. This is the highest transformational card in the deck. And all of the cards amplify and they add, it's like the elixir. This is the elixir. There's the solution. But what is added to the solution? The moon will always be the solution, always. It is the mother. She is the sacred waters of the earth. This is how you know your profound oneness with all that is. Your collective, your heaven, and your Gaia. You cannot do energy readings without that sacred trinity. And if you are, you're missing a lot of the tarot. You're missing a lot of energy reading. It's not that it's wrong, but let's go deeper. So anybody that wants to, individual sessions with me on how to read cards in a fifth dimensional manner, you can always book an ascension session, because that's, again, your vocational alignment, right? So this is the highest transformational card for us. To get this transformational card in the first card, again, where's your placements and what does it mean? The first placement was our heavenly card. So then write your notes down. That's profound. The heavenly card to be the moon. That's crazy. There's so much that's coming out. I'll give you a few downloads that's coming to me. Then again, get your downloads and then write your downloads. So what's coming to me from your heavenly card? I don't have much time. I wish we had more time. I could be spending a lot more time on this. So maybe we'll do a fifth dimensional oracle card class. So what's coming through from this is that the Heavenly Father, thank you, Holy Father. So the Father is showing that he is giving the space. He's lifting the mother to her rightful place. So he is allowing her to be the center of attention right now. And he is saying that there will be a lot of humanity that will come forward and embrace and feel very grateful within itself for having learned the various foundations of what it is to be divine and how to move through the very sacredness of your energetic transformations. This is a very foundational experience that was taught in all temples. And the Father is just lifting all of us into allowing it to be a more sacred experience and a more sacred co-creation of how you move about reading energy, how you move about with certain tools like the tarot or like divinity cards or oracle cards, and then just allow your intuitive gifts and who you are as the higher self speaking through you to bring the downloads that are more heavenly, if you will. Because there's going to be spirit that wants to speak through the cards as well, and trust yourself. What are the messages coming through? So again, ask your higher self and ask your spirit, what are my heavenly messages coming through? What are my downloads? What am I getting from this? What is the Mother and Father speaking specifically to me about this card? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? Doesn't it offer great power? That's the true power. That's the true power of saying, oh, I get this now. I can read these things, and I know my eyes get directly moved to this symbol right there. And every time you read this card, it's going to be different. But no, this is the highest transformational card in the deck. So don't ever fear the moon card. Don't ever fear trepidation with the moon card. The moon card pulls up all that gunk that needs to be looked at and be vulnerable with it. That's the gateway. The gateway is the vulnerability. You got this. Don't worry about what's on the other side of that gateway. It's always you. It's always going to be better. It's always you. But there are initiations that you must go through, and this is the Mother and the Father standing by. There's always the sacredness and the innocence of the sacred child. We must never forget the innocence. And when we are in illness and disease and mental disparity, that is when we have forgotten the innocence, and that is when the innocents have been raped and trafficked. So this is a very powerful card for the heavenly. So the heavenly is showing us that, yes, there's going to be great things that will be coming for us to transform. And in the light of the mother, and in the light of the presence of the mother, and the mother is such profound power. Well, she just has so much power. And she will absolutely bring nourishment and healing to the earth as you're going to be walking through many gateways and portals with each other, as you're remembering your own innocence and bringing it back to life through creative expression, exploration, and experience of who you are as source. And allow the divine feminine to speak with you and of you. And these are profound divine heavenly messages. So right now, the energy, so our synopsis is, our summary is, in this reading, is this 3-card reading, the divine heavenly energy summary is that the heavens are showing us that right now it's time for divine feminine. It's time for our healing. It's time for our remembrance of the yin and the yang. It's time for our remembrance of our own initiations with ourself and source. And it's time for us to bring back what we do know about energy and how we're reading it. And isn't this sacred and heavenly? And so very divine. Thank you, Holy Mother. And then to go on, like, how is this even more beautiful? I don't know if this is left to right for you. Our second card is, can you imagine? Is the Queen of Wands. Isn't that gorgeous? So we're getting heavenly transformation, the divine feminine is being lifted. It has to be. We're coming into a fall equinox. There's so many downloads coming in right now. So again, go with it. Keep writing. We're coming up to an equinox. We're coming up to, all of our clocks get turned back an hour, so we're being blessed with more time. And again, the sacred waters are always the movement of time as well. So as water moves, it's like the passing of time. There's many metaphors and parables with that. And again, the mother and the father will always stand with you in every transformation. Nobody else comes in your rooms. So again, be discerning of anybody that plays with such cards and plays with such divination tools like Ouija boards. People shouldn't be playing with Ouija boards unless they know what they're doing. And again, if you're playing with tarot decks, know what you're doing with them, because they are portals to entities and energies. And if you're going to be crass and ignorant with them, then you deserve the karma and the energies that are going to come and play with you, right? So use your cards as very sacred and have rules with them, have protocols with them. No being comes in this card except for your healing, your highest healing teams and Archangel Michael. The mother and the father are with you in this card always. Always. Your higher self, always. You cannot use this card without the mother being here. She is this. This is the mother speaking to you. What is she saying? Downloads. And so in this, the next card to it is from the collective. So what is the collective feeling about this beautiful card? Now, again, we want you to put aside everything you know about the Divine Feminine in the tarot deck. We want you to be 5D now. So just use this card. And what is your clairaudience? What is your clairsentience? What is your clairtangence? What are your clairs showing you about showing up right next to the moon as the heavenly energy, now offering you the Divine Feminine energy of the Queen of Wands? What do wands stand for? Intellect, thought, inspiration, imagination. Now, what is that card showing you? Trust what you're sensing, trust what you're feeling. What do you notice first? What is the most powerful thing in the card that you notice? Where does your eyes go to first? And as you're looking around the card safely, just softly gazing, softly. Intuition is always about softly, soften. Just allow the heart to soften. Allow your fields to soften. Now, what does your eye keep going back to? What does your heart keep going back to? Is there a sound? Is there a resonance? Are you paying attention to what she's wearing? I always pay attention to what they're wearing. And it's got beautiful sunflowers there. Sunflowers are one of my favorite flowers. We're doing our clairs training. We're training with our clairs today with my brand new deck, or my galactic star deck. And I'm teaching you how to be more open and more fifth dimensional alignment with your divineness. And we're reading cards. Yes. Yes. Very good, Cluedo. Are you paying attention to what's at her feet? And are you paying attention to where she's situated within the card? There's an arc behind her, isn't there? What do arcs symbolize? And her chair is also an arc, isn't it? She's being held in a cocoon, isn't she? She's being held in a cup. She does have a bit of sacredness in that energy, doesn't she? She has a bit of, okay, this is my space. This is where I sit. And she has the sunflowers on either side of her throne, if you will. Right? She's very substantiated on her throne. So again, when you're looking at the cards and you're interpreting them, you're going to most often than not get energy. So what are you feeling in that energy? What is the essence of that energy? That's how you read energy. Like when I have all of the celestials come through, I usually tell them, can you tell me who's coming through? And they'll present an energy of emotion. You know, like one of my guides is super hilarious. And he'll just present himself with something, a really funny vision. So I know automatically that's just that guide, right? No other guide can slip in and pretend that he's that guide. Because this is what your discernment is all about too, because your teams will test you. You know, when you're really talking to the Arcturians, what is the essence that the Arcturians give you? What is the essence that the Pleiadians give you? What is the essence that the Cassiopeans give you? So I've with all of my teams and with all of the beings, just when I was first learning, I did have them come through with specific feelings and sensations that they would give me. so that I would know exactly it's them. Because when you're a channel for the systems of light, I want to know who I'm talking to. My higher self was always the gatekeeper. This is the gate. This is the gate, right? And because she's a queen of wands, we're just talking about the intuition. So she is a goddess of channeling, because the wand is always the intuition. It's always thought. So this is the gateway through which the higher self provides her that higher vibrational information, only through the gateway of the higher self, only through the gateway of, so we could say this again is the pineal. So again, these are the downloads. This is how you can vibrationally read cards. So the pineal, we're taking our card reading, we're taking our intuitive reading up a level. We want you to feel into the energies of the cards and release the 3D meanings. You just pick a little bit here and there of what it means in 3D, but we want you to be more creative. We want you to bring your own creative energies, because most of you are far beyond the 3D meanings. We want you to really tap into your divinity. We want you to tap into that celestial knowing. We want you to tap into your hybrid energies. We want you to tap into your heavenly energies, your collective energies. And how does this relate to the collective? Because this is a collective card. What is this energy that you're getting, and what does it say about the collective? If you were to give a summary statement on what this card means to you vibrationally, on behalf of the collective, what would this message from the collective be? What would the Queen of Wands energy message be? What are you paying attention to? What's your draw? So as far as the collective, write a summary statement. The message on behalf of the Queen of Wands for the collective is, and then we know we just went through the moon, and the moon is the highest transformation card in the deck, and it's the Divine Mother. So the Divine Mother is offering the Queen of Wands for the collective. That's an intuitive statement right there, and that's profound. So we are leveling up, thank goodness. Like, wow, Divine Feminine is being offered forward. You know, that gives me goosebumps. I have goosebumps everywhere. And then again, if you know you're getting goosebumps, you're on point. So the heavens are showing you that there are definite symbols and symbologies, and there's synchronicities that Mother and Father are gonna. I'm all verklempt. Mother, and these are all experiences. These are all very real experiences of how spirit affects you. And how your connection, again, remember alignment. Connection is everything. Connection is everything. So if I have this connection with spirit, I'm showing you. Your body will show itself. I'm so connected with spirit. I love you, spirit. Thank you for allowing me this connection with my cards and with how I can teach others how they can be connected in those higher vibrational discernments and understandings and deciphering, right? We want you to decipher your cards in your way, not have the same interpretation that everybody else has in the same channel, right? You want to read your cards in your highest vibrational divine way. You're going to harmonize and bring forward your hybridization. You're going to bring forward the understanding of the light and the dark. You're going to bring forward of whatever it is you're tuning into, and just allow spirit to enmesh with you and to harmonize with you. What are you feeling? Trust what you feel. What you're drawn to. Are you drawn to the pyramid in the back? And what did we say yesterday in our video? What was the message that I was given in my download yesterday? This is how you know that you're always connected with spirit, because your downloads are always going to mix and merge with each other. The message you got yesterday was that the true Egyptian gods are rising. So for me, and this is very poignant, so thank you, Mother, Father, for this beautiful blessing, because it is a blessing on my behalf. Thank you, because they are my cards. So this for me is representing of my own self. This is my divine queen. I am the divine Queen of Wands, because I am of high intellect and intuitiveness, and I am standing within my own throne in my own womb. And I am an Egyptian creator god. And of course, sunflowers are my favorite flower. I could go on and on about this card. But on behalf of the collective, I am going to be rising into my new throne and my new space that the Father will be leveling me up. So that's a beautiful symbology for me. And that's why all of these cards are so very profound. Wow. I've got goosebumps everywhere. I get goosebumps everywhere. So that's just, wow, powerful, hey? And this is how Spirit speaks with them. And I just thank you so much. Thank you, Spirit. 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 Thank you, Holy Spirit, for allowing me to be the experience of all that is. And I just noticed this, too. I just noticed this. I had the strangest thing the other morning. I was walking. I had my coffee, and I was walking And this little bat came, and it sounded like a bird, but it was a bat. And I thought, that's not a bird. That bird can't be that small, because it was bigger than a hummingbird, but it was much smaller than a little starling or whatever. And it was really dark out in the morning because we were meant to change our clocks back, right? So I thought, oh, it's really dark out. I wonder what that bird is doing just sitting on it landed on the cement, right where the cars were going. And I said, you better move. I was her little birdie. So I went over to walk over to it to get it to move because there was a car coming and I didn't want the little birdie to get hit. And then I noticed it wasn't a birdie, it was a bat. And the bat had just sat there looking at me. And then I went to it and made a chirping sound. I said, well, I said, if you're a bat, I don't remember bats chirping, but maybe they do. So maybe birds do chirp. I was like, okay. So if we look at this is a bat on the cat. Isn't that beautiful? A cat and the bat. A bat and the cat. Bats are symbolic for transformation. They were one of the most profound animal symbolisms, shamanic symbolisms, for being able to go to the deepest places of transformation that few can go. Bats are this symbology. And they use their other senses to navigate all life. And they do only come out in times of when it's very dark, and that's when they're trusting the environment the most. I mean, bats are profound. When you see a bat, you know you're going through a very profound transformation. Make no doubt about it, you're going to go through something really profound, and you'll probably not forget it. So whenever you see a bat, a real live bat, whenever you see a bat, you know that there's going to be something really fucking profound happen. Bats will take you there. And it was just this tiny little thing like this, right? And it was just sitting on the ground, and just sitting on the ground. And I'm going and then it flew away because it felt because the echolocation, right? Okay, so our third card is for Gaia. So now that we know the moon is for the heavens, the Queen of Wands is for the collective, and now we have our third card, and we're just going to finish up just in perfect timing, is the Lovers. So take a look at this card and soften. Call forward your higher self. What are you sensing? What are you hearing? What are your eyes seeing? Are you getting any little prickly thoughts or words or feelings or sensations, emotions? And if you know that you cry or you get very emotional in a card, then you absolutely have to go deeper. It's giving you that permission slip. These cards are permission slips of the divine portal of all that is energy. So there's lots of energies and lots of beings that are working through these cards because we've asked them to. That's been our protocol. And that's why you always close down your decks when you're finished with your cards. So what's standing out at you? What would be some messages for Gaia? Between you and Gaia and you, the collective, know that we've already gone through the Mother Moon. And the Mother Moon is offering the Queen of Wands for the higher intellect and the higher knowing and for her to take her throne. Thank you, Holy Mother. I love you. She says, I love you, daughter. What are you seeing? And the moon is present on this card, isn't it? And again, aren't they in water? So there's going to be lots of things moving. Do you notice anything about the water? Is it smooth? Is it calm? Is it rough? And so what are some of your messages? What are the intuitions? Forget the 3D meanings. We want you to get to your 5D. What is your 5D sense of self? You're tuning into the heavens. The heavens are with you, guiding you. You and your higher healing teams and Mother Father, the only ones working with you in these cards. These are your templates. These are your oracles to work through and move energy in and out. What are you sensing? What do you know about yourself? So already I'm getting some clearing. So this is obviously a healing card. There's lots of healing going on in this card for Gaia. Is there any messages that want to come through for this card on behalf of Gaia and the ancestors? Thank you, Holy Spirit. And I always say with Gaia, I'm always working with my ancestors. So I will always respond through Gaia and the ancestors. And then we're getting some sacral clearing and some solar plexus clearing. So what they're saying to me is that we're going to be tapping into and harmonizing when we are in our creative genius. Again, what's wonderful, isn't it? All the synchronicities here. This card is showing us, again, the divine feminine, divine masculine in harmony. They're embracing one another and they're in between the pillars of initiation. This is so profound. And so they're saying, of course, the moon is here too. So we know that this is going to be holy freaking profound. The Father's got these beautiful things that are coming up in these equinoxes, and it's going to be unbelievable. And so the profundity of the harmonization of the divine feminine, divine masculine in the pillars of initiation with mother, father, and the mother being present within all three cards is insane. Just going to put that out there. Just going to say that. And the creative process. This is huge for the creative birthing, again, because remember, we said at our intention, we wanted to intend ourselves in new beginnings. And new beginnings are these new creative experiences. How are we going to harmonize in who we are as these divine 5D creative beings that we're highly innovative or highly creative? And what's our next step? How can we initiate ourselves? So I would suggest with these beautiful, beautiful readings of these powerful energies, perhaps you might want to set up an initiation between you and Source Creator and you and God, and really get that harmonization of relationship and connection and alignment with your teams and alignment with the Creator and alignment with the heavens. Because remember, equal measure. As you get in the elevator and push the button, this kind of looks like an elevator, doesn't it? And what's behind them is that mountain. Again, I take these peaks in like a trilogy of, again, the Egyptian creator gods coming forward. And they look like fays because of their ears. So they do have earth elementals. And of course, the Egyptians, because the Egyptians are star families that had taught us what we had known about alchemy and all the beautiful things we did about the dark occultism and how to use occultism with responsibility and honor, and how to use our gifts with skills and honor, and have our protocol, and have a protocol around your cards and your tools, and clean them once a week, so that they're going to give you the highest vibration of understanding and information and downloads. And the downloads that are coming to me right now have everything to do about creativity. And we're going to be walking through new pillars of creativity in the harmonization of accepting and allowing the divine feminine masculine vulnerabilities of each. And again, because the waters are there and the divine mother is there, and because we did also have the moon, you know, it's profound in and of itself as being very transformational and very healing, and why we had those clearings throughout the lower two chakras. So again, we want to take you up a level in your divination reading and how you're reading energy with the various clairs and how you use the various clairs for higher vibrational statements and downloads, and trust what you're getting in your downloads. So there's a question coming from the divine masculine. So this is interesting. So the divine masculine is asking, this masculine is asking me. So this is I'm showing you what I mean. He's asking me on behalf of the collective, on behalf of Gaia. He's asking me, because there has been such misrepresentation and such imbalance of the divine masculine's energies, there is concern in the collective. For the collective, there's a collective download, a collective energy, and so this divine masculine is showing me what the energies and the worries are of some of these divine masculines that want to choose to perhaps have a date and have a courting and want to court a divine feminine. And it doesn't matter what body you're in, they're just the energies we're talking about. And so in that, there is some worry in the collective that what if the divine masculines are not at the creational and the creative stage because they have not been too much in their emotional bodies, because that's where we create from, is the emotional body, the intuitive body. And so they're becoming aware of that. So that's a profound question on behalf of the divine masculines in the collective. And that's not something that, of course, is wonderful, and it's beautiful that you brought that forward, because it's showing you that you're returning to your innocence and you're returning to that space of, it's okay for me to ask questions. It's okay for me to wonder if I'm good enough. It's okay for me to wonder if I'm going to be creative enough for my divine feminine counterpart that's been working on these things for many, many years. Because the divine feminine have been a bit more ahead than the divine masculines, because we knew, and it's also God's design and God's plan, God knows what God's doing, is that the divine feminines were powerful healers in all of her ancient lineages and all of her ancient times, depending what planet she's been on, no matter where she's been. It's been very pivotal for her healing time, for her to take the time and the energy and her ranking and her earning of where she's been and where she's gone, so that she can lift the powerful divine masculines to their level. And this is why it is going to be important for when God says it's ready for you to meet your union partner, then it's timely for you to do so, because you're going to need that person's help in your healing and in your lifting. And so there's reasons why Source Creator has you meet each other exactly when you do. So again, leave all of that partner, soulmate, twin flame stuff to Source Creator, because nobody knows everything more than Source does. So that's a beautiful question on behalf of the collective and the divine masculine, bringing that forward. So thank you, I appreciate that. And you never have to worry, for we will always assist you and take whatever time you want. Because remember, again, there's no competition, there's no race. You definitely never want to race what we're just going through. right? You want to take 2 hours or an hour and a half and go through these 3 cards. Like it's taking us an hour and a half to go through these 3 cards. You want that dodecahedron. Because again, when you go out to the YouTube collective, if you will, the YouTube collective, there's going to be very few people that will read a card to the depth and to the widths that a dodecahedron is. And this is why I hold myself in the energy and the vibration that I do. I know my value, I know my worth because I've done the work. And that's my excitement. I'm excited to bring the depths and the heights and the expansiveness of intuitive reading and intuitive spiritual reading and intuitive harmonization of how you feel and what you feel and how you experience yourself and express yourself as Mother, Father, God through whatever divination tool you're working with. Because you can use wands and you can use sand and you can use candle wax. There's many divination tools that you can use. But again, remember your protocol. Use the highest and best benevolence and have your highest and best benevolence protocol always. And have standards. These cards are only for the Mother and Father and I and my highest healing teams. That's it. And I use them as a tool to teach. And then I close them off and I cleanse them once I'm done. Those are my protocols. And so anybody says that, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. No, I have a very strict practice about how I read energy. I've practiced, I'm trained. And this is why that allows you, way back in the day, there was always such fear because I had that, that fear of, not being good enough, if you will. But they said, you have no idea the gifts and skills that you have. Just relax and just allow yourself. And I said, well, what if my way of reading is not like the other? Said, well, that's the point. Your way of reading is not going to be like any other way. And we need your readings out there because it's taking people to the next level. And you give codes while you read. And so I'm learning all these things about, the way I read cards and the way I used to read cards. I used to do a bunch of card reading things. But I didn't do them for a while because I just wanted to practice more and more of my channeling. I just wanted to trust more and more of my channeling. So how did you all feel about that session of practicing your clairs? Any comments that you wanted? Did you get anything that really stood out to you? Did you get the goosebumples? Did you get the positive yeses and nos when you're talking to your teams and you're coming up with your own summation about what that card means and how you read energy and how you read symbols in the card? And it just takes practice. So go out and get yourself a deck. Indigo has some beautiful decks out now. Indigo Chapters, that's where we get some of our cards. And there is some independent metaphysical shops that also have cards. But did any of you get anything, any messages you'd like to put down in the comment field? And don't judge yourself, remember, because every time you read cards, you get better at it and just soften into it, be vulnerable. You're always getting messages. Trust me, you're always getting messages. You're never not with spirit. So just sometimes you put up so many expectations on what it feels like or what it's supposed to feel like or what other people get it like. You're here for you, right? You're not meant to read cards like anybody else. You're not meant to have your tools and your permission slips. Your permission slips are meant to be, how your permission slips are meant to be, right? Does everybody have fun? So again, if you wanted any vocational alignment sessions to take yourself to the 5D, that's what my vocational alignment sessions are. So it's whether you're a reader, whether you're a healer, and that's why I'm going to be a collective guide and a collective leader for various things on taking many, whoever so desire, up to that 5D level. And so allow yourself to know that I'm always here for guidance, spiritual guidance, and spiritual leadership. And we look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow and see what the cards say tomorrow. But wow, those are powerful, powerful cards. I think I'm going to write a few things about that. Those are powerful messages. Thank you, Mother, Father. Thank you, Mother, Father. And we're going to close down the energies of those cards and just close down the vortex. Shina Makata Daka. And with Archangel Michael, we're going to close it with a beautiful healing closure, veil and a seal, and close the cards for all that we're reading. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Close down any energies that are not benevolent. Just close them down. We get to choose when and how we read. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We get to bathe the space with holy light. And ground and close any energies or arenas that are open now. We want to close our chakras down. We don't want our chakras open as we're walking about life. We want our chakras just halfway open, right? We want our chakras to receive light and energy, but we don't want to be open to everything and everybody because otherwise you'd be overwhelmed. You'd be really, really tired. So pay attention to how your body is moving in these beautiful equinox energies. It's going to be really amped up. So give yourself time to relax and heal, right? And so go through the video again, make notes, because I guarantee you, if you listen to this video 3 times, you're going to get different things on every card, right? You're going to have a different message on every card. So give yourself time and soften. It's not a race. You're not competing with anybody. This is just you and you, right? There's always you on the other side of those gates. And so our PayPal is paypal.me/Joanna L. Ross. And if you'd like any sessions on ascension, any vocational alignment sessions, donate, that would be wonderful. And I'm so grateful for all the beautiful beings that have donated to me, the 2 beautiful beings. That they know who they are. And I've sent you again out some beautiful blessings last night with the archangels, and I was hoping the archangel was going to be blessing you and rubbing your feet, giving you little massages, however you need that massage, and just tell the angels whatever it is that you need and to help you make a beautiful blessed meal, or maybe have somebody buy you a meal, set that intention, If there's anything good that can come to me today, whatever Father or Mother can bless me with, I would be open and beautifully embracing. So thank Mother, Father, God for embracing you in different ways, that they can show you how many ways they can bless you, right? Mother and Father would love to just bless you in as many ways as they can. So know that there's infinite ways that you can be blessed, and just be open to it, right? There's nothing more profound of being blessed than beautiful people in your tribe that remind you of how loved you are. Because that love just opens up your heart, and it makes you want to give and receive more love, right? And then how beautiful is it, especially if you've had so many toxic relationships and toxic family, that you actually get blessed with somebody that's not toxic and they just want to love you. And isn't that something that you just want to be okay with and just say, let's get together because I've had enough of toxic everything. Let's not be toxic, and let's just hang out for a little while. Let's see what it feels like not being toxic. Right? Isn't that a blessing? What's that like? What a thought. Whereabouts in your stomach does it hurt? And what kind of hurt is it? Is it a slow pain? Is it a hard pain? Is it a fast pain? Is it gassy pain? What kind of pain is it? Just keep loving yourself, because you're going to attract that person that was going to love you, because that's the magnetics, right? The more love that you put into yourself, you're going to attract that person that's going to love you. Well, there is some energy things that are going on there. So you need to work more intimately with your teams and your guides to clear out your energy field. And the message that's coming up to me immediately is, it's like you're being punched in the gut. That's what they're giving me. So there's energy, and there's aggressive energies, and there's negative energies around you, and they're either putting you down. And what is your gut? Your gut is your solar plexus. So that means you're taking hits on who you are as a divine being, your I am presence. So how are you beating yourself up? How are others beating you up? And you need to get out of that environment, and you need to get away from these people, because you know who they are. There's energetic things that are going on. That's why your body feels the way it feels. It doesn't. You can go to the doctor if you want, and they're going to probably prescribe you. They're going to give you something. So obviously check the doctors out for sure. But everything that is a physical malady always begins with energy first. And that's the first thing that came to my mind when you said what's happening with my stomach. You're being punched in the gut. So who's punching you in the gut, and why? Why are you doing that to yourself? Your gut is your I am presence. Are you denying yourself of your I am presence? Do you know what your I am presence is? Your I am presence is your godliness, your acceptance of your godliness. Do you accept your godliness? There's negative and disregarding energies to your solar plexus, and go research what your solar plexus means and start doing your shadow work. That's part of your shadow work. Once you do your shadow work and you start clearing that shadow work, you start clearing those energies, you start clearing those negative intentions, negative projections. Who's ever doing the negative work with you, it's starting there, because that's how you feel about yourself. So if you were to get better feelings about yourself, those people wouldn't be attracted to you. And the energies that are automatically going there. So your stomach is like churning negative energy, because that's how you feel about yourself. You've had skewed perspective of your I am presence. Yeah. So there's, yeah, you're becoming more aware of your energy field. So you need to trust what you're feeling. So you need to trust what you're feeling, to pay attention to your body. Remember we talked about yesterday in our video, body talk? Who's ever in your house or whoever is in your environment is affecting your body because they're reminding you of some shadow work you need to do. So honor it. They're there for a reason. So honor that. So flip it around. Don't be fearful. That being and that energy doesn't have more power than you. So you just reclaim your power, like I show you. Reclaim your power, ground and center. Put your hand on your solar plexus and ask for the intaking of light and God. I ask my solar plexus because it is your higher self. I'm calling in. I'm seeking light. I ask that light move into my solar plexus. I want to remind myself of what I am in my I am presence. My I am presence is my mother, father, godliness. It is my I am, as my name is. Those are your powerful affirmations. Work with your affirmations every day. And as you notice of those people that make you feel like you get automatic bodily feelings, go to your solar plexus and start reaffirming and clearing and cleansing your field. And then put a seal around your field and your chakras so that her energy will not affect your energy, or he. It feels like a her, and that person needs some energy work as well. You both need healing, but she's reflecting that to you. So work on your shadow work. Do your shadow work for your solar plexus. Who are you? Why are you denying yourself of your godliness? So work on that. I'm reclaiming my light. I love myself. I honor myself. I love my root chakra. I love my sacral. Give yourself love and affirmation. Do the work. This is why we're saying do the work. These are important questions you're bringing up. Do the work. So now you're showing yourself you can heal yourself. You can rebalance your body and your systems and stand in your power. It's your house. So bless your house. This is my house. By stating them, saying, I've grown beyond you. This is not healthy for me. You need to cut the cord. There's cords. There's energetic cords. It's teaching you to stand in your power. If you're not standing in your power, you're going to have the bodily systems. You're going to have the dysfunction. You're expressing dysfunction of your I am presence. You're not standing in your I am presence. So do your shadow work. You've got to do your shadow work. Where you're asking every time, what do I do? Do your shadow work. If you start working on your chakras and you start healing your sense of self, who are you? Your sense of self says, I'm paying attention to my body. I don't like how I feel when that person's around. I'm going to start to release them. So stand up for your spirit. That's your throat chakra. When your chakras are all working in unison, there isn't no demon or no entity or no devil that can come at you and throw you off and try and sacrifice you. As I've said, I'm the dodecahedron. Where I've gone has proved it, and God will lift me. I can say these things. People that are pretending cannot. You can ask me whatever questions you can, and I'll give you a dodecahedron answer. Do the work. You're being shown right now that you need to do shadow work. So use this weekend as shadow work weekend. Have that person go stay at somebody else's so that you can work on your shadow work. There is nothing more important than your spiritual work. There's nothing more important. Do your shadow work and have your chakras so that nothing and nobody can bind to you. There will be nothing that will ever bind to you ever again once you do your shadow work. Say it, state it. That's a knowing, as my name is. Nothing will bind to me. Period, point blank. I'm godly. My name is. That's ranking, dear lighted ones. And it takes practice. Do the shadow work. Nothing will bind to you. You state your destiny. Nobody coming in and out of your house carries anything. No, out you go. Bye. Go stay with somebody else. There's a Hotel 6 down the road. If my body shows me this when you walk in the door, it's a no. Bye. Our energies don't mix. Trust yourself. You got to cut off contact then. If you're knowing that this is what happens to your body when you have contact, you have to cut it off. Again, rules of engagement. There are those that are going to say goodbye and you're not going to meet with them again. So have that be okay. Say, you've been a great friend, you've taught me a lot, but I can't hang out with you. My body hurts. Bye. There's better friends out there where my body's not going to hurt. Right? So tell spirit, I want people to be with me that my body's not going to hurt. Because you're listening to your body, you're respecting yourself now as spirit. That's what spirit wants from you. Your higher self wants to say that, no, nothing's more important than my body and my health. Right? So put those people on hold. Once they level up their energy, give them a chance to level up their energy, go work on themselves. But you're not going to take on negative energy in your gut just because they want to, impale you with negative imprints and negative. That's what's called, what you're feeling and what you're sensing is there's negative, the thought projections are negative. That's called mental projections. That's called mental manipulation. They're using black magic. They're projecting negative energies at your solar plexus. They're disagreeing with your I am presence. They're disagreeing with where you're going. They're disagreeing with how you've changed. Those are being punched in the gut, especially if it's by a friend that you used to have a friendship with. So now you're going to have to redefine who are you. Again, do the work, do the shadow work. When you do the shadow work, you're going to realign with new people. I love you, everybody. Anybody that wants a donation or a session, paypal.me/Joanna forward. Okay? PayPal, it's in all of my videos. We love you, we love you, love you. Bye. Book a session.